I generally ask few questions to test my students actually, that where to stand. When any student comes to me and says, sir, I finished this particular targets, then I choose one or two questions and ask them to know the competence and the level of competence they have reached by reading that. For the 2023 prelims has one question from polity, which is on what did the parliament do? What did the parliament do to overcome the judicial interpretation of fundamental rights? So many people blindly choose answer as 42nd Amendment because it was done during emergency. So that's what beginners will do. So if you understand things like what is Juno mission, why is NASA doing Juno mission, we also understand why didn't India do such mission, what are the limitations of India. So we are coming with a webinar on 3rd of October, 7 p.m. wherein I'll help you to assess yourself whether you are ready for 2025 or not. Hey guys, October is here and winter is also coming. And the most dreaded term of any UPSC aspirants is prelims is coming. So, but before that, we have 4 months of slump months where October, November, December and January, where aspirants generally think what to do because they don't have any exam pressure, lots of moments like festivals, holidays, and people recently have written mains. So they don't understand actually what to do and they are always in a doubt, which is whether to attempt or not and what can be improved in my preparation, all the stuff. So to sort it out, to give a litmus test to you, so we are coming with a webinar on 3rd of October, 7 p.m. wherein I'll help you to assess yourself whether you are ready for 2025 or not. Trust me when I say this, that paying in this space for last 4-5 years, I generally ask few questions to test my students actually, that where to stand. When any student comes to me and says, sir, I finished this particular targets, then I choose one or two questions and ask them to know the competence and the level of competence they have reached by reading that. So I'll do the same thing with you also, wherein I will give you a few questions and you yourself can know where you are and put down the comment section whether you are in beginner level or at expert level or advanced level, whatever it is. So in this process, I'm not going to judge you. Instead, we will have a reality check on where we stand and how do we do and what to improve on future. So don't worry. So we will, and at the end of seminar also, in the webinar, we can also look into what can be the future plan and whether to give it on 2025 or 2026, it's up to you. That's what we'll do in this webinar. So are you ready then? So we will take the 3 to 4 questions in this pre-webinar and we'll stretch it more in the webinar, wherein I'll ask you questions and then I'll give you basic ideas on how a beginner thinks and expert thinks at advanced level. Then you can decide yourself where do you stand and put those in comments actually, whether you are beginner level or advanced level. Okay, let's do it then. So let's start first with prelims because prelims is what comes first. And I'll give you 2 questions in prelims, 1 or 2 questions in prelims, so that we can assess in this pre-webinar and then in actual webinar on October 3rd, we can do a few more questions there. So the very recent prelims, like 2023 prelim, not 24, but 2023 prelims has one question from polity, which is on what did the parliament do? What did the parliament do to overcome the judicial interpretation of fundamental rights? So what was that particular amendment? Is it First Amendment or 42nd, 44th Amendment, which was brought in by Parliament to overcome the judicial interpretation of fundamental rights? So many people blindly choose answer as 42nd Amendment because it was done during emergency. So that's what beginners will do. Beginners will not only misunderstand the question, but also don't have a clarity on the question actually. Because if you read the question properly, it says to overcome the judicial interpretation of fundamental rights. So here you have to go back to the history of the amendments actually. So if the options are first, 42nd, 44th amendment. So each and every amendment history you have to know. That's what experts do actually. That's what the advanced level learning is, where you will learn about the history, the reasons for amendment, not only the objectives of amendment actually. And generally what happens in beginner level is they will only study the elements of the particles of the amendment actually. But the advanced level is to learn, to understand why the amendments are being brought in the first place. And that's what exactly this question asks. So this question is directed towards those people who have done this advanced level of learning. And if you had answered anything other than First Amendment, definitely you are at the beginner level. And if you have understood, if you have answered it as First Amendment, definitely you are at a higher level. That's what it is. Coming to second question is also belongs to polity only. And again, very simple, yet everyone knows about this, but everyone understands it wrongly. So that is about same 2023 prelims only. About what does due process of law mean? Very simple question. They're asking what is due process of law. And the options are principles of natural justice or procedure established by law, fair application of law, and equality before law. Now, at the beginner level, everyone knows that this is somewhere discussed in Article 21 of Constitution. Then they'll also think that we know E.K. Gopalan, we know Maneka Gandhi case. Something happened in E.K. Gopalan wherein it was discussed procedure established by law, which was overturned in Maneka Gandhi, saying that no, we should follow due process of law. And this is where the beginners stop thinking. The advanced level learning is actually what prompted judges to shift their stand from 1947 or 1950 to 1978. So it took 28 years for judiciary to change its stand from procedure established law to the due process of law. So this is where the game changes actually. So to understand the Jamaica Gandhi judgment in Doto, we can definitely say that answer is principles of natural justice rather than procedure established by law for fair application of law and equality before law. So that's what differentiate between a beginner and advanced level. Now let's go to mains question, the recently concluded mains. So there's a lot of josh as far as mains is concerned. So let's do one of the mains question. So there was a question from science and tech I'll take, because science and tech questions are very interesting actually, and there's a clear demarcation of what we study and what they're asking mains. So there was a question in 2017. I'll tell you why I took 17 question also later on, or I'll tell you in the webinar. So come to webinar to know this thing, why I took 2017 question. So the question is, how does Juno mission of NASA, so NASA had a Juno mission back then, and will help to understand origin and evolution of Earth. So what does we do generally as a beginner is we learn what is Juno mission. We learn who was the one who was the main part of the Juno mission, which is NASA or ESA or whatever it is. And we will know similar other missions by ESA or JAXA or Chinese one or India ISRO. That's where we stop actually. But look at how UPSC is testing us. Is asking us, fine, you have a Juno mission, but how is it useful for us? And that's what the advanced level thinking is all about. So we should not stop just by knowing things. We should start understanding things actually. So if you understand things like what is Juno mission, why is NASA doing Juno mission, we also understand why didn't India do such mission, what are the limitations of India, and how come a mission in Jupiter is going to help to know about Earth and atmosphere of Earth. So these are the questions which advanced level or expert level student will think and get to know, and that is where make difference. Because everyone will write the answer for this question, I'm saying. Trust me, and everyone will write the answer for this question. But good marks will only be fetched by the advanced level learner who will already might have prepared for this question, because the way of thinking the person does is different from what a beginner level does.